G'day, mate.
Thanks very much, everyone, for joining us here for this post-match press conference following Australia versus New Zealand. We're joined by Aaron Finch from Australia. He'll be taking questions here from the room in Sydney before then going live onto Zoom. Apologies. He'll then be taking questions. Sorry, for those that didn't hear that on Zoom, we'll be taking questions from here in Sydney and then going over to Zoom. So without further ado, we'll start the questions from in the room. Okay, can I see some hands, please?
Aaron, how much of a disaster was that, given you not only lost, but you lost by a big margin in a very tight tournament?
Yeah, that's a big loss in the context of the tournament. We were just totally outplayed in all three facets. New Zealand they come at us hard with the bat, and their bowling was so disciplined. Their fielding's always fantastic. So, yeah, it hurts. It hurts our net run rate, like you said, but you still got to be positive. I think we're still back ourselves that we can win four, and you need a little bit of luck along the way.
After the lengthy build-up and things going on, can you put your finger on what went wrong today? Was it just New Zealand were very good, that first 4 overs that went for 50-odd, put you on the back foot? Yeah,
we're on the back foot from the start. I think we did a really good job to drag it back, and we felt as though 200 was maybe not a huge amount over par. The wicket started to play really nice under lights, seemed to be getting better. So we backed ourselves to chase that down. And I think when you're chasing a big total and you stumble along the way, you've got to keep going to try and stay up with the rate, and that brings risk. And it didn't go well for us. It pretty similar to what's been happening the last few games. Is every time we start to build a partnership, we just lose one and then have to rebuild, and that's always trouble in this format of the game. So, it was always going to be tough once we lost a few, and we just didn't establish them big enough partnerships to put enough pressure back on New Zealand.
Aaron, just how damaging was probably the first few overs, especially, I guess, the way that Finn Allen exploded? Yeah,
he was fantastic. He came at us hard and took us on. We knew that he was going to do that. We'd planned really well, and he just got off to a flyer. And when, as a batsman, once you get ahead of an opposition and once you get ahead of a game, it can be the game can sort of start to slow down for you, and you can start dictating a little bit. And that's what happened today. He got off to a flyer and put us on the back foot. But again, I thought we dragged it back really well. I think at 10 overs they were about 95. So that next 4 was really good, and probably the next 10 was really good. And like I said, 200 I felt was maybe 10 above what we would have liked to have chased. I think the average par score here is 187 or something like that. So we still felt we were well and truly in the game.
Aaron, at last year's World Cup, you suffered a big loss to England, and you stuck to your plans, and it worked out all right. I know you're not a selector, but can you do that again, or do you think they'll have to consider changes?
We still feel as though we've got the right structure of team and we've got the right players to win the World Cup. Obviously, it's taken a big hit today with a net run rate, and when that happens, you need to play well, and we need to get better quickly. And then, like I said, you need a bit of luck in T20 cricket as well, and in such a brutal tournament. So I think we've still got the right structure of the team. There's no doubt about that. Whether you go with an extra spinner, an extra quick, something like that, I think that's the only real decision to be made. I'm still confident in the 15 that we've got, no doubt.
Hey Aaron, can you just talk us through the decision not to use Glenn Maxwell as a bowler tonight? Obviously we saw Sodhi and Santner kind of have a bit of success. Was it just that you kind of thought pace was working a bit better?
Yeah, we felt that Marcus Stoinis bowling quite a bit of pace off was working really well. Devon Conway is a really good player of spin, so while he was in and he'd face 25, 30 balls, it can be hard to stop it in batter hitting to that short side, and there wasn't any spin in the wicket in that first half of the game. So we felt as though that would be a little bit bigger of a risk with Devon being able to access that side. So that was the only reason. We felt that as though Stoin would be able to defend himself a little bit better.
Aaron, you mentioned just before about there being a bit of a pattern through your previous games leading into this World Cup and tonight about when you're losing wickets. Like, is the pattern? I guess what I'm trying to ask, like, are you kind of committing to that fearless approach that you spoke about how you won last year? Like, is that an issue here or?
No, I don't think it's an issue. I think when you're chasing tens and you get a little bit behind the rate, I think it's like 3 or 4 dot balls. It goes up so quick. So you can't go into your shell in T20 cricket. You have to be able to transfer pressure back on the opposition as quick as you can. And at times that comes with risk. And so you have to be prepared to wear the consequences of taking risks at times. And we haven't got it totally right with bat or ball. We've got to look at ourselves in that regard. But I'm still committed to playing the same way that won us the last World Cup and has given us a bit of a setback here.
Aaron, it seems inevitable that from here to win the tournament, it has to be 6 consecutive wins to actually get there, which sounds quite daunting. But do you take comfort from the fact that the team achieved something quite similar to that just 12 months ago?
Yeah, T20 is a momentum game at times. It can be brutal at times. So to be able to not look that far ahead is important, because you can't win the tournament if you don't win the next game or the next contest, which is the first ball of the next game, if you don't prepare well for the next game. So there's a lot of little things they're big things actually. There's a lot of big things that can distract you if you allow them. So the fact that we've lost one game, yes, it's a heavy loss and it hurts our chances, no doubt. We can't dwell on that. We can't change it. All we can do is concentrate on the next game and prepare really well from that against Sri Lanka and see how we go. We've taken the fate out of our own hands, I think, to a point. We need to be ultra positive, ultra aggressive, and I'm sure that we'll do that.
Aaron, a lot of questions about the first 4 or 5 overs. Do you also think that New Zealand have kind of provided a blueprint to the other teams to how to go after your new ball attack? And in that case, do you just stick with what's happening, or do you change things around? Like, how do you look at that?
Yeah, we'll look at all the stuff around that, and particularly against Sri Lanka as well. We'll analyse that. We'll analyse them and see what matches up best in that regard. I think we've seen for a while teams are coming harder and harder in the power play. It still takes a high amount of skill to be able to do that against world-class bowlers. So we still feel as though it's the right team, no doubt. We've got 3 world-class quicks there. But like I said yesterday, on someone's day in T20 cricket, especially someone like Finn, who plays quite a kamikaze style game, it's high risk. The ball can fly everywhere, and he's a seriously talented player. When they get on top of you, it can be hard to stop, because you feel as though you're always chasing, and when you do that, you feel like you drift further and further away from your plans. But we expect teams to come really hard at us, though.
That all we got from the floor, guys. Thank you. I think we've got 2 here on Zoom. We've got Umesh.
Hello, Finch. Actually, last time, due to a technical error, I was the last one who couldn't ask a question to you. So, in the pre-match PC, I just wanted to ask the same thing that happened today, like the middle order collapse. So, like if Warner and Finch fails to do something, so how can we trust on the middle order that collapsed today? So what's your comments on the reasons or the findings that you find that these are the particular reasons of the defeat, and how are you taking this defeat ahead to go ahead in the tournament?
Yeah, I think with the middle order, the big thing is, as a top order, we've got to do our job to be able to provide a foundation for them to be able to play in a way that expresses, it best suits them, and then they can express themselves that way. So if we go into the second power play 1 down, then I think that makes it easier, because the field's out, they can settle into the game, and if we're up on the run rate, then there's not as much pressure on them. And lately we've probably been we've probably been leaving a little bit too much to the middle and later order.
Anuj.
Hi, Aaron. Anything would you like to change what happened today and what you want to happen in the next match against Sri Lanka?
I don't really understand the...
Anything would you like to change in your strategy for the Sri Lanka match that will happen on Tuesday?
Oh, we'll sit down and we'll go through the preparation for Sri Lanka probably tomorrow night once we get to Perth. But our preparation was fine for this game. From our coaching staff and players, everyone was really detailed in how we wanted to go about it. But very rarely does a T20 game go to plan, and we saw that tonight that we were just blown away. And I think that's the bottom line.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone, for joining us.